In an alternate 1982, a gigantic alien ship appears in the sky over Johannesburg, South Africa, and simply stops above the city. For 3 months, nothing comes in or out. Eventually, human authorities cut their way into the ship and discover a huge population of aliens in a weak, malnourished state, having run out of supplies long ago. Humanity decides to rescue them, but the newcomers are quickly treated with contempt and given the derogatory nickname prawns because of their appearance. There are rumors that a smaller shuttle detached from the mothership and landed somewhere, but no one is able to find it. Under pressure from the rest of the world, the South African government relocates about 1.8 million of these aliens into a segregated camp on the outskirts of the city, a fenced-off area called District 9. Scholars theorize that most of these aliens are just workers, drones of their species, not leaders or thinkers, which may explain why they rarely organize or take initiative on their own. At first, life in District 9 is relatively calm. The area is heavily guarded by the military, surrounded by fences and checkpoints. Humans slowly discover that the aliens have a particular obsession with cat food, which soon becomes a kind of currency in dealings with them. But as time passes, resentment among the human population grows. Many citizens feel the government is wasting resources on aliens instead of helping its own people, and protests and riots begin to break out. District 9 gradually turns into a sprawling slum, overrun by poverty and waste, feeding xenophobia and hatred. The aliens don't help their reputation either, as they often treat violent acts like vandalism and setting vehicles on fire as a form of entertainment rather than crime. Crime flourishes in this environment, and the area becomes a perfect hub for illegal activities. A Nigerian warlord named Obasanjo sets up a large black market in District 9, dealing in everything from prostitution to weapons trafficking. Alien technology is incredibly advanced and extremely powerful, but there is one problem for humans. Their weapons are biologically locked and cannot be fired by human hands. Only alien DNA can activate them. 28 years after the aliens' arrival, tensions between the nearby human communities and the prawns have reached a breaking point. People demand the camp be moved far away from the city. Giving in to public pressure, the government contracts a private weapons and security corporation called MNU, Multinational United, to handle the relocation. One of the executives, Mr. Smith, assigns his mild-mannered employee and son-in-law, Wikus van de Merwe, to lead the eviction and transfer of the aliens to a new, more remote camp. To support him, a squad of heavily armed mercenaries led by Colonel Venter accompanies the operation, nominally to ensure Wikus's safety, but also to force compliance when aliens resist. Wikus, his assistant, and a camera crew prepare to document the whole process as if it were a neat, legal procedure. When he sees the amount of firepower the mercenaries bring, Wikus is uncomfortable, but Venter mocks him and tells him to focus on the paperwork. A convoy of vehicles heads toward District 9. As they push past protesters, some prawns react aggressively, and the mercenaries respond instantly with lethal force. Once inside, Wikus goes shack to shack, serving eviction notices and asking the aliens to sign documents confirming they accept the relocation. Sometimes he uses cans of cat food as a bribe to convince them. Some prawns cooperate and sign the forms in exchange for food, but others refuse to abandon what little they have and become hostile. When that happens, the mercenaries step in, beating or killing resistors over Wikus's timid objections. In one shack, the team discovers an entire room filled with prawn eggs attached to the walls, a kind of alien nursery. Wikus cheerfully explains to the camera that these eggs are considered illegal breeding and orders the mercenaries to burn them on the spot. Many shacks also hide pieces of alien equipment and weapons, which the mercenaries confiscate so MNU can study them later, even though they still don't fully understand how any of it works. Meanwhile, a clever prawn named Christopher Johnson, his son CJ, and their friend Paul have been secretly collecting parts from broken alien tech for years, searching for a special black fluid. CJ finally finds the right device, and Christopher extracts the fluid and stores it in a silver cylinder, key to their escape plan. Just then, Wikus and his team arrive to serve eviction notices, so Christopher and CJ hide the cylinder and leave Paul to deal with the humans. Paul refuses to cooperate, the soldiers pin him down, and Wikus searches the shack, finds the weapons and the cylinder, and accidentally sprays the black fluid into his own face. Shaken and burned after Paul throws him into a fire barrel, Wikus watches as Venter's men rush in and execute Paul, leaving him injured and holding his arm. After receiving basic medical treatment in the field, Wikus continues the eviction process and eventually arrives at Christopher's shack. He tries to be friendly by offering CJ some candy, but the child angrily throws it back at him. This angers the soldiers, who force Christopher to his knees while they sweep through his home, finding more advanced equipment that they don't understand. In the middle of the inspection, something strange happens. Wikus suddenly vomits a slimy fluid and starts feeling lightheaded. The team decides to pull him out of the district for the day, but during a quick food break, his nose starts bleeding. Back at the MNU office, new symptoms appear. He keeps coughing, and, to his horror, his fingernails begin to peel away. Meanwhile, in District 9, Christopher and CJ search frantically for the missing cylinder and are devastated when they realize it's gone. Elsewhere in the camp, a group of prawns trades an alien battlesuit to Obasanjo's gang for cans of cat food. During the deal, one of Obasanjo's men casually kills a prawn to butcher and eat. Obasanjo has been hiring local witches and shamans because he believes that eating prawn flesh will somehow transform him into one of them, allowing him to use their weapons. Sometime later, Wikus returns home, where his wife Tanya has organized a surprise party to celebrate his promotion. Wikus tries to play the friendly host, but his body is falling apart. He rushes to the bathroom to throw up and struggles to keep it together. When they cut the cake, he vomits again and collapses in front of everyone. The next morning, he wakes up in a hospital bed. Doctors unwrap the bandages around his burned arm and recoil in shock. His left hand is no longer human. It has transformed into a prawn-like claw. Horrified, the doctor immediately calls MNU. Soldiers arrive, ignoring Tanya's questions and screams, and they force Wikus into a body bag to transport him to a secret lab. There, the scientists also find the silver cylinder in his pocket and quietly take it away. From that point on, Wikus becomes a test subject. MNU subjects him to brutal experiments to see what his hybrid body can do. Because his DNA is now part human, part prawn, he can operate alien weaponry. The technicians force him to fire various guns at inorganic targets and even at live animals. At the end, they make him kill a prawn to test lethality. The experience traumatizes him deeply. Afterward, the executives, including Smith, discuss the incredible value of his condition. In their eyes, Wikus is the perfect genetic bridge, a being who can use alien weapons but is still controllable enough to be harvested. They decide the best course is to dissect him, taking his organs, tissues, and blood before the transformation completes, so they can replicate his DNA balance and create soldiers capable of wielding alien technology. Wikus overhears enough to realize they intend to kill him. Panicking, he attacks the staff and uses a scalpel to grab a scientist as a hostage, allowing him to fight his way out of the lab and escape into the facility's corridors before security can shoot him. The mercenaries are immediately ordered to hunt him down. Meanwhile, Smith visits Tanya to lie about Wikus' condition, feeding her a fabricated story that implies infection and wrongdoing on Wikus' part. Out in the city, Wikus steals clothes from a laundry line, a phone, and rummages through trash for food. He desperately calls family and friends for help, but no one wants to talk to him. Eventually, he discovers why. When he enters a small shop, a news broadcast on television announces that he is a wanted fugitive, claiming he contracted a transmissible disease from engaging in sexual activity with the aliens. People in the store panic and run away, leaving Wikus to realize the entire country now sees him as a monster. With no other option, he heads to the only place where he might blend in, District 9. There he scavenges among the aliens, eventually trading and stealing enough to get a can of cat food, which he devours ravenously. Mid-bite, he notices his human teeth falling out as the transformation continues. Just then, Tanya calls him. She tells him she wants nothing more to do with him, that she's disgusted and cannot bear his presence. She hangs up before he can explain. Desperate, Wikus grabs an axe and tries to chop off his mutated arm to fix himself. In his panic, he manages only to sever a finger before the pain overwhelms him. As he struggles, helicopters full of mercenaries sweep the area, searching. Wikus runs and dives into a random shack to hide, only to find himself inside Christopher's home, stumbling into the secret room before passing out from blood loss. When he wakes up, Christopher explains that Wikus is inside the rumored shuttle, hidden beneath the shack this entire time. Wikus tells him the cylinder was taken to MNU. Christopher and CJ explain that the liquid inside it was the key to powering the shuttle, and also reactivating the massive mothership still hovering above Johannesburg. With the mothership active, the aliens could regain control of their technology and potentially leave Earth. The same fluid could also power a device that might reverse Wikus' transformation. However, getting the cylinder back from MNU is practically suicidal. The mercenaries would kill them on sight. As they talk, Wikus continues to transform, his skin peeling and his torso changing shape. The pain is excruciating. Suddenly, he receives another call from Tanya, who this time sounds loving and supportive, promising to take him back and be more understanding. What Wikus doesn't know is that MNU is forcing her to call, using the conversation to trace his location. Meanwhile, CJ tells Christopher he misses their home planet and wants to leave, but Christopher explains they can't go anywhere without the fluid. Their only official option is moving to the new settlement humans are building for the aliens. Wikus overhears and tells them that the new place he's heard about is even worse, like a concentration camp instead of a refuge. Desperate to save himself and help Christopher and CJ, Wikus proposes a plan. They will break into the MNU facility together. To prepare, Wikus visits Obasanjo's base, trying to buy weapons. The gang welcomes him with hostility and violence. When they shove him around, they notice his transformed arm and immediately decide they want it for their rituals. Obasanjo orders his men to cut off the claw so he can eat it. Wikus fights back, scrambling on the floor until his hand lands on an alien gun. Without hesitating, he picks it up and fires. The weapon's explosive power tears through the gang members, killing many of them instantly. Wikus manages to grab a bag full of alien weapons and escapes. Around the same time, Venter and his mercenaries raid Christopher's shack but find it empty. Christopher and Wikus are already on the move. They storm the front entrance of MNU by blowing it open and then make their way into the lab, gunning down guards and scientists who stand in their way. They find the silver cylinder, but Christopher also sees rows of alien corpses and specimens, including his friend Paul, used and discarded in experiments. The horror paralyzes him. That hesitation gives the mercenaries time to catch up and unleash a barrage of gunfire. Wikus fights back, killing many soldiers while shouting at Christopher to think of CJ's future. The reminder snaps Christopher out of his shock. Quickly, he rigs a bomb from lab equipment and uses it to blast a hole in the wall. They flee outside, steal an MNU vehicle, and race back toward District 9 with Venter and his men on their tail. Back at Christopher's home, CJ inserts the recovered fluid into the shuttle's systems. Christopher takes that moment to explain to Wikus the full truth. The liquid is limited. It can either be used to operate the mothership and the aliens' machinery, or to power a cure for Wikus. It cannot do both at once. Christopher chooses his people. He promises to return in 3 years with help and enough resources to fix Wikus, but right now the priority is escaping and bringing support. Enraged and feeling betrayed, Wikus knocks Christopher unconscious and goes down into the shuttle himself. CJ, still working on the controls, uses the fluid to reawaken the shuttle, which begins to power up underneath the shack. Outside, Venter arrives and threatens to kill Christopher. The ground shakes as the shuttle lifts off clumsily, tearing through the house. Venter orders his men to fire a missile at it. The blast cripples one of the engines. Christopher watches helplessly as the shuttle crashes back into the district. His last straightforward path to the mothership is gone. In the chaos that follows, Venter's men capture both Christopher and Wikus and load them into vehicles to take back to MNU. Before they get far, Obasanjo's gang ambushes the convoy, crashing their cars into the mercenaries' vehicles and opening fire. A fierce gunfight breaks out. In the middle of the fight, the gang manages to grab Wikus and drag him away, leaving Christopher behind. Meanwhile, CJ continues working on the shuttle systems and manages to send a signal to the mothership, causing it to come back to life and power up. At Obasanjo's base, the witches prepare to perform their ritual on Wikus, planning to consume his claw. However, the activation of the mothership awakens all alien technology linked to it. This includes the advanced battlesuit stored there as loot. The suit boots up, identifies Wikus as an ally, and the Nigerian gang as enemies, and suddenly unleashes its weapons, slaughtering Obasanjo and his men. Elsewhere, some mercenaries interrogate Christopher about the now active mothership, while the rest race toward the commotion. Cornered and with no human allies, Wikus climbs into the alien battlesuit. It recognizes his hybrid DNA and fully activates. He steps out into the battlefield, confronting Venter's forces directly. When he sees Christopher in their custody, Wikus tries to negotiate, offering to surrender Christopher in exchange for his own freedom. But then he overhears Venter ordering his men to kill the prawn once they're done. Realizing Christopher will never be spared, Wikus changes his mind and opens fire on the mercenaries, mowing them down with the suit's devastating weapons. Together, Wikus and Christopher run back toward the shuttle. Knowing more soldiers are on the way, Christopher tells Wikus to come with him, promising again to fix him later, but Wikus refuses. He decides to stay behind and hold off the mercenaries so Christopher and CJ can escape. Christopher thanks him and promises he will return in 3 years. In a final stand, Wikus uses the battlesuit to annihilate wave after wave of mercenaries. He flips vehicles, fires explosive rounds, and launches missiles, painting the battlefield in chaos. Just when he is about to kill Venter, a speeding car slams into him from behind, damaging the suit and knocking him to the ground. Meanwhile, Christopher uses the shuttle to connect directly with the mothership. A tractor beam descends, lifting the shuttle out of the rubble and toward the massive ship. The mothership pulls the shuttle in and starts to depart. Wikus crawls out, his eyes swollen and yellow, his body nearly fully transformed into a prawn. Venter aims his gun to finish him off, but before he can pull the trigger, a group of prawns surround him and tear him apart. In their eyes, Wikus is now one of them. Sometime later, humans celebrate as the mothership finally leaves Earth's atmosphere. Wikus's former assistant leaks evidence of MNU's illegal experiments and atrocities, causing public outrage. The government forces MNU to relocate the entire alien population, now around 2.5 million prawns, to a new camp called District 10, far away from the city, and District 9 is demolished. Wikus's story becomes infamous, a sensational scandal and tragic tale. But eventually, most people move on and assume he died. Only Tanya holds on to the belief that he is still alive. One day she finds a small metal flower left on her doorstep, crafted out of scrap metal. Wikus used to love making little things like that by hand. This gives her hope that he's out there somewhere. The final scenes reveal the truth. In a junkyard full of trash, a fully transformed prawn carefully shapes bits of metal into another delicate flower. It's Wikus, now completely alien on the outside, still clinging to the last pieces of his humanity.